We moved to the western end of Fire Island, New York on Christmas Day 2009. Fire Island is one of several long barrier islands created by ocean currents that run parallel to the south shore of Long Island. That same week, a heavy blizzard dropped 2 feet of snow. The western end of Fire Island is Robert Moses State Park. Much of the rest of the island comprises Fire Island National Seashore. At this latitude, the ocean does not freeze in winter. Seawater freezes at a lower temperature than fresh water, normally around -2 degrees centigrade or 28.4 degrees Fahrenheit. The turbulence of the water caused by wind and currents prevent the water temperature from dropping sufficiently or allowing enough stability for ice crystals to form. In summer, the sea absorbs heat from the sun. It radiates that heat in the winter, moderating the climate of Long Island and other areas along the coast. Ducks and other water birds float and feed on the ocean. Some may have come from inland lakes where they breed in summer. Walt Whitman was one of 19th century America's most celebrated poets, and he lived on Long Island. In this quote from his most famous work, Leaves of Grass, he refers to Paumanok, which is the native name for Long Island.
As I ebbed with the ocean of life, as I wended the shores I know, as I walked where the ripples continually wash you, Paumanok, where they rustle up, hoarse and sibilant, where the fierce old mother endlessly cries for her castaways, I, musing late in the autumn day, gazing off southward, held by this electric self out of the pride of which I utter poems, was seized by the spirit that trails in the lines underfoot, the rim, the sediment that stands for all the water and all the land of the globe. Fascinated, my eyes reverting from the south dropped to follow those slender windrows, chaff, straw, splinters of wood, weeds and the sea gluten, scum, scales from shining rocks, leaves of salt lettuce left by the tide. Miles walking, the sound of breaking waves the other side of me, Paumanok there and then as I brought the old thought of likenesses. These you presented to me, you fish-shaped island, as I wended the shores I know, as I walked with that electric self, seeking types. As I wend to the shores I know not, as I list to the dirge, the voices of men and women wrecked, as I inhale the impalpable breezes that set in upon me, as the ocean, so mysterious, rolls toward me closer and closer, I, too, but signify at the utmost a little washed-up drift, a few sands and dead leaves to gather, gather, and merge myself as part of the sands and drift.
At the ocean, one is connected to all the oceans of the world. In the words of Whitman once more,
I see huge, dreadful Arctic and Antarctic icebergs. I see the superior oceans and the inferior ones, the Atlantic and Pacific, the Sea of Mexico, the Brazilian Sea and the Sea of Peru, the waters of Hindustan, the China Sea and the Gulf of Guinea, the Japan waters, the beautiful Bay of Nagasaki landlocked in its mountains, the spread of the Baltic, Caspian, Bothnia, the British shores, and the Bay of Biscay, the clear-sunned Mediterranean, and from one to another of its islands, the White Sea and the sea around Greenland.
Greenland in the Arctic, Antarctica at the other pole. They are covered with prehistoric glaciers that are now melting at an alarming rate due to human-caused global warming. Scientists warn that if the ice on Greenland alone melts, the oceans of the world could rise 20 feet. That would put places like Fire Island and much of Long Island underwater.